Are you struggling with error code 8541 on Amazon? Well, thankfully, there's some easy solutions, and we're here to give you some guidance. My name is Noah. I'm with My Amazon Guy, and I'm going to walk you through exactly why this error code happens, how to really solve it, and what to make sure to do in the future so it doesn't happen again. So, first, to start us off here, what is error code 8541? So, error code 8541 happens when you are trying to change some form of listing attribute on the UPC or the ASIN, the product, and that listing attribute seems to not correlate with what Amazon knows that product to be. This is very, very common for pretty much any type of product that has variations, anything you're trying to change on the product. So it says here, brand, title, UPC, color, submits, corresponds, but it can really happen for pretty much any one of the attributes on a product. There are certain attributes that you can change and ones you can't change. So for instance, if we go over here, attributes that you can typically change would be things such as active ingredients. That's something you can change, or the actual material type free. So these are things you can change, and you can change as well number of items, things like that. But when it comes to certain features such as, the title, the actual brand of it, the UPC code, the ASIN, you can't change those. Some others would be color, for instance. They typically won't want you to change the color. They won't want you to change things like scent, for instance. So what do you do if, for instance, you are getting this error code because you're trying to change one of these attributes because it's incorrect? Well, there's a few ways you can kind of go about this. So first and foremost, we'll scroll down here a little bit. This is typically the error code you're going to get. The conflicting attribute value are brand blank blank blank. So essentially, what is the conflicting attribute? It's going to look something like this. And then it's going to tell us how to solve. This solve is a little up in the air in my opinion because it's not always foolproof. So depending on what you're trying to do, if you say, for instance, my submission was incorrect, so if you're trying to change on Amazon's back-end catalog, typically what they want you to do is they want you to complete the actual product via an upload. So what I'm always going to suggest you do in this case, if you're trying to, let's say, change scent, in this case from good and evil to, let's say, good and bad, right? If you want to change it from that, what I would suggest is instead of changing on the back end part of Amazon, I would download your catalog listing report, and then I would download your template file, and I would upload this product with the changes via a partial update from a flat file. Now, the reason that we want to do a flat file upload in a scenario like this is because that's going to push the actual listing and make it so that your changes are going to be pushed through immediately. Let's say that's not the case. So again, this can affect more. So for instance, a different product was found. This is also a common one. Now, this is more common when, for instance, we have issues with our UPC. Now, for issues with your UPC, where they are saying that another product was found with that same identifier that you are trying to list, there's a few ways that you have to go about this. First and foremost, what I would always suggest you do is go to your GS1 and download a certificate directly from GS1. Now, that certificate is going to show that you own the UPC, the product identifying code, and that you are essentially the person who gets to list and use that UPC and is attached to hopefully your brand under GS1. Now, you want to download that, and then secondarily, if you can, take your phone and take the product and take a quick picture of the actual product. What this is going to do is this is going to attach the actual brand of the product with a picture and the UPC in that product photo. You're going to use those when you submit a case to Amazon seller support to then show, hey, I own this brand, I own the GS1 code, I own the UPC. Here's the certificate. It is attached to this product that I'm showing here, but it is showing that it's not. In the event that your UPC is being used elsewhere, Amazon can then take that UPC away from the other product. Again, we have a few other areas, however, that this can essentially be happening. One being that you want to correct something, one of these, let's say, again, this scent, if we are trying to correct that. So let's say we're trying to correct the color or we're trying to correct the scent, but it's saying that, essentially you can't because guess what? It's already attached to that product. Well, in this scenario, essentially, you need to contact, again, as a brand representative or owner, the selling support on Amazon and let them know your causality for the change. So let's say, for instance, for the scent side of things, you want to change again from good and evil. And, because it's no longer good and evil, this product is actually being rebranded, right? So If you're going to rebrand, let's say, the scent to Good and Bad, again, you can simply do that by contacting seller support, letting them know that, hey, we like the overall scent, but the actual scent itself is being rebranded. Here's our new packaging. Again, this is going to be a scenario where you want to take a picture with your phone, show the actual new product packaging, show everything about it, show same UPC, and give the reason behind it. Typically speaking, seller support is going to allow this to go through, and it should be a pretty simple case. Again, these are some common examples. Marketing updates, right? So rather than good and evil, we're doing good and bad because evil isn't allowed to be said anymore, or something along those lines. Identity update. This is one typically that I see again with title. So if you're trying to change title and, it's a very specific product and you want to change that over to a different type of product, they need to have a, causality for it. So is it because the size of the actual product, so you can see in the title down here, the size is slightly different? Is it because it does something slightly different? Is it because it affects one other new type of device out there, right? So let's say you have something that works for iPhone 11, but guess what? iPhone 12 came out and you want to change your title to be iPhone 11 and 12. So things like that are typically an identity update, in which, again, seller support will allow. And then finally, add offer to an existing ASIN. This one is a little bit trickier to deal with. If you're trying to add a new offer to the existing ASIN, again, I would typically revert back to saying flat file updates is going to be your best route. So for this in general, if you are having this problem show up on the back end of Amazon for any of the updates, your first step should always be to try and make the update via flat file only. That will hopefully get pushed through and you won't have to deal with seller support. In the event that it is a product identifier or is a code that you can't update via flat file, any of the attributes on there, always reach out to seller support. Make sure you have the reasonality behind it, and they should be able to push it through. You may not be able to get that push on your very first seller support case because, as we know, seller support isn't the most helpful in the world, but hopefully you can get it on usually the second or third case. The best thing you can do is show the reasonality and the actual change on the product with a real world picture just on a desk of the product. So hopefully this helps you a little bit with error code 8541. If you like videos like this and you want to see more, give us a little thumbs up down below, subscribe as well, and we hope to see you in the future.